Hello and welcome to our first online poetry class. This term you'll study Blow Blow the Winter Wind. First of all, let's talk about the poem and its occasion. This poem was written by William Shakespeare, the famous English poet and playwright. It was first published in 1623, and it's an extract from the famous romantic comedy As You Like It. So what is the occasion of the poem? When the senior duke is banished by his brother Frederick, who took the kingdom illegally, the duke goes to the forest of Arden with some faithful and honest followers. They love the simple life of the forest more than the luxurious life of palaces. It's a song sung by a character named Aenons, and Aenons is one of the lords who have by their own choice come with Duke Senior. Aemon sings this song commenting upon the ways of the world and the human ingratitude, which is more biting than the piercing cold winter wind. There are three major themes in this poem: betrayal, fake friendship, and pure realities of human life. As you see, the whole poem is divided into two stanzas, and in this video we are going to explain and analyze the first one. Stanza 1. Blow, blow the winter wind, thou art not so unkind as man's ingratitude. Thy tooth is not so keen, because thou art not seen, although thy breath be rude. Hey-ho, sing hey-ho, unto the green holly, most of friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. Then hey-ho the holly, this life is most jolly. The poet in the very beginning addresses the winter wind and says that it can blow as much hard as it likes, because it's not so harsh and rude like man's nature of being ungrateful. The attack of the winter wind is not so harsh or sharp because it's not visible, although it's bitingly cold. And if you look carefully at this poem, you'll see that it's not actually about the winter wind at all. And Shakespeare reveals his true meaning in the middle of the poem with the line, most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. He's saying that people are not often true to their friendship or loved one, or that their friendship or love is not real. He uses the idea of a winter wind, which could be painful, to communicate how much more painful the false love and friendship is. So when he says, the wind, thy tooth is not so keen, here he wants to say that the pain caused by the wind is not as heartfelt as the emotional pain of the untrue friend or lover. The rhyme scheme of this poem is as follows: A A B C C B D D D D. And here is a list of the new vocabulary of stanza 1. Ingratitude, thanklessness, or ungratefulness. Thy tooth, your bite, keen, sharp, rude, vulgar. Hey-ho, an expression of joy. Holly, an evergreen plant used as a sign of joy. Jolly, pleasant. Feigning, false. Invisible, unseen. The poet asks the wind to blow hard, and he says that the cold and strong wind is kinder than the ungrateful friends, and the wind is not as sharp as the man's teeth. The poet says that friendship is false and deceiving, and the loving is just foolishness. He shows that he enjoys life in the forest. It's pleasant and simple. There is nothing to fight for, and he invites people to give up their false friends and come to live in the forest. Figures of speech. Personification. The personification is evident in the description of the wind. It's said to have a tooth and breath, and it's also said to be less unkind than the untrue friend. And of course, these are all human attributes rather than aspects of the wind. He uses the wind as a contrast to an aspect of human life, therefore he needs to personify it. The examples of personifications are crystal clear in these lines. Thy tooth is not so keen. The poet compares the wind to a man whose bite is not as hard as the bite of an unfaithful friend. Another example, thou art not so unkind. It's also said to be less unkind than the untrue friend. Apostrophe. Shakespeare employs apostrophe in this poem, which is used when the speaker addresses someone or something that cannot respond. Blow, blow, the winter wind. Of course, he's talking to the wind, and the wind is something that cannot respond. Alliteration. Actually, the whole poem is rich with alliterations. For example, the sound of b and b in blow, blow, the winter wind. And as you know, alliteration is the repetition of a consonant sound in the same line. And here is a list of examples of alliterations in stanza 1. Winter, wind. Art, unkind. Hey, who, holly. Most, emir. Assonance. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds in the same line. And it's crystal clear here in the example of the sound A. In most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. Finally, simile. And you know, simile is a device used to compare an object or a person with something else to make the meanings clear to the readers. The cold wind is compared to a human being throughout the whole poem. One example of this simile is, thou art not so unkind as man's ingratitude. Finally, I have finished explaining the first stanza with all the figures of speech found in, and finally I'll let you with the song. Hope you enjoy it, and see you next time to explain stanza 2. Thank you for your time. See you soon.
Friendship is fading, most loving mere folly. Then hail the holly. This life is most jolly. Freeze, freeze the bitter sky. Freeze, freeze the bitter sky. That does not bite so nigh as benefits forgot, as benefits